No. It sounds like loser talk to me. First things first, Stephen Jones probably shouldn't be talking about Super Bowls. Cowboys haven't been to one in, 25 years? Haven't even been to an NFC championship game in that long. So I don't think Stephen Jones should be talking about Super Bowls. Let's be honest, Sal. I mean, just something you shouldn't fix your lips to speak about until you get close again. So there's that. Secondly, 4 out of 5 last 5 years, biggest offseason spenders, they make it to the playoffs. You can't win a Super Bowl unless you make it to the playoffs. The offseason is literally when you win the Super Bowl. I think the offseason is at least when you get to the Super Bowl, and the in-season is when you win it. Think about the Rams.
Yes.
Offseason, Matthew Stafford acquisition. That's how they got there. But in-season, Von Miller, Odell Beckham. That's how they won it. The Eagles, that's the Super Bowl I remember best. Off-season is how they got there. Alshon Jeffrey, acquisitions like him. Torrey Smith ends up helping, contributing, acquisition like that. But in-season, when they went and got Jay Ajayi, I was like, why would you go get Jay Ajayi? Ended up having 500 yards for the Eagles and was pivotal down the stretch for that Super Bowl winning team. Off-season is when you get there. In-season is when you win it. But the off-season is what you got to do to get you there. The Cowboys have not gotten better this off-season. Tight end Dalton Schultz even said offensively, we're not better without Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was a phenomenal talent, a number 1 receiver in the National Football League. So Stephen Jones just sounds like he's giving a bunch of loser talk.
Damn.
The offseason is when you get to Super Bowls, and in-season is when you really solidify what the offseason started.
Oh, man, I think he has more than a point. I think he has a lot of points in terms of this Cowboys team and their potential success. You came at Stephen Jones pretty hard. You know that dude gave me 5.2 for 1 year, and I ain't give him nothing back in return. So respect to you, Stephen Jones, and I will handle this off camera for you. No, seriousness, man. Come on, Acho, don't do this. That's too fresh. But put your uniform back on, man. We up here with no moderator for a reason. We got to keep it 1,000. Wow. You, as a team, don't win the Super Bowl because of top talent. Mm-hmm. You don't. You win a Super Bowl with qualified talent that works together in the season, the chemistry, how they come together, and that's how you win a Super Bowl. Don't believe me? Okay, let's use last year as an example. The Rams weren't the most talented team out there. One of the qualified talented teams, but not the most talented teams. Because if you look at it from last year, you know what everyone was saying? Here's some publications. Top 3 talented teams in the preseason rankings. Chiefs, Bucks, Bills. Okay, they all did well in the playoffs, but they didn't win the Super Bowl or even play in the Super Bowl, right? Who played in the Super Bowl? Rams and Bengals. We just talked about the Rams. What about the Bengals? 29th ranked in terms of talent. 29th. How'd that turn out? Okay, let's go to the year before when Tampa Bay. You could say Tom Brady comes there and he comes to a loaded roster. That's real. But they were qualified. They weren't the most talented team. A lot of people were saying Cleveland still. Whatever. What happened when they returned everybody after winning a Super Bowl? All 22 starters returned. 1 playoff win and get up out of here. Point being, Stephen Jones is like, look, dude, we already have a qualified talent team. That's why everyone is so disappointed in the Cowboys, because everyone knows that they have one of the most talented teams. So having a talent conversation or the departures of talent should not disqualify you from any Super Bowl conversation. They qualify. Now they need to work it in the season, and then let's see if they can finally achieve it.
It's all about the offseason. Let me break this down for y'all in a palpable manner, since more than likely you did not play in the National Football League if you're watching the show. Sal, question. You know how to play the game spades, card game?
Yes. You
really know?
I know how to play. I'm not good at it, but I know how to play, yeah.
Where did you learn? When did you learn? You recall?
Oh, man. Grandma's house, she's sipping on gin. I'm just getting it spilled on me.
See, the NFL offseason is the equivalent to learning how to play a card game. You don't learn how to play a card game when the stakes are high. You don't learn how to play a card game at the picnic. You don't learn how to play dominoes at the picnic. You don't learn how to play Uno at a game night. You learn how to play in a low-pressure situation where you might renege while playing a game. You might do something you ain't supposed to do, but your friend ain't going to bite your head off because you're just playing in the comfort of your own house or your homeboy's house. This ain't the barbecue. This ain't the family picnic. Ain't Shirley ain't coming down your neck. You can't do that, baby. That's not when you learn how to play. The NFL offseason is learning how to play the card game. See, in season is just when you tweak the rules dependent upon whose house you're at. See, spades, you go to some people's house, Big Joker is the highest card.
Yeah.
Another person's house, the 2 is the highest card.
Yeah,
Another person's house, the ace is the highest card. You go to some people's house, draw 4s, you can play a draw 4 on a draw 4 on a draw 4 on a draw 4.
Yeah.
Another person's house, you play a draw 4.
That's it.
The NFL regular season is simply the tweaking of the rules. If I'm going to play in the Las Vegas Derek Carr's house, now this double coverage is going to Devontae Adams. If I'm going to play in the Miami Dolphins house, now this double coverage is going to Tyreek Hill. But it's in the offseason where you learn how to play the game. So it's in the offseason that you actually win Super Bowl, Stephen Jones, and you know that, at least Jerry knows that, because it's in the offseason where you're actually learning what you're doing and how you're doing it with the roster you're doing it with. Don't try to act and tell me that you're doing it all in season. Because to think you can win a Super Bowl in season is to think you can learn how to play spades, Uno, dominoes, or poker when the stakes are high. You don't want to learn when the stakes are high. You want to learn when you are in the comfort of your own home. And that is one Cowboys way, if I am not mistaken, in Frisco, Texas. So you do win a Super Bowl in the offseason, just like you learn how to play the game when the stakes are not very high, big dog.
I like that. You just took me back. Let me get some of them ribs. I just, hey, why don't you let the ladies eat first? Oh, God. I don't know what to do with that, but I loved it. But I do know what to do with these Dallas Cowboys. Run it back. Dak Prescott, your quarterback still? Yeah. Okay. You guys still have the best record amongst all NFC teams in conference? Yeah. Oh, really? 10-2? Yeah. Let's run that back. Did you guys score more than 40 points 5 times last year, more than any other team in the NFL? Yeah. Y'all had the number 1 offense? Yeah. Run it back. You keep talking about who we lost. Who we lose? Who we lose? Come on, man. Total offense, takeaways, points per game, turnover margin. Acho. Number 1. I ain't say top. Number 1. They're going to run it back. And they're going to run it back, as Stephen Jones said, already know they qualify in terms of the talent conversation. What they need to do is probably more than just the physiology of the game. They need to get up here somehow, some way, and get the mental part between the ears going for this team somehow, create that urgency so they can win the ball game. And let's not forget, they lost to the 49ers last year. That ended up being a one-play game. Crazy as the complexion was, as crazy as it looked like they were overwhelmed by the 49ers, that was a one-play game with a controversial ending. If I'm Stephen Jones, what he's showing me is he has confidence in his team. What he's showing me is that he knows that this process is going to end in the optimal results, such as Mike McCarthy when he had Aaron Rodgers in his 3rd year. Mike McCarthy now approaching his 3rd year with Dak Prescott. What happened in Green Bay his 3rd year? They won the Super Bowl. I think they're thinking the same thing in Dallas with their fortunes. All they have to do is draft well and come together at the picnic, as you would say.
That's fair. But what's so ignorant to me is this. The only reason the Cowboys were elite last year during the regular season, I would argue they were elite. Starting off 7-1, that's fairly elite. Yeah. The only reason they were elite last year was because of that offseason. Trayvon Diggs 2 years ago, 2nd-round pick. Micah Parsons last year, 1st-round pick. That's what led the Cowboys to having a top defense as far as turnover differential, was the offseason moves. So unless you, Stephen Jones, plan on having as successful a draft, which we know is hard to do because the 3 years prior you were not great, then you got to realize, big dog, it is all the free agent acquisitions. It is all the offseason work that's really going to win you a Super Bowl. Otherwise, you better make a move in season. But we know the Cowboys sell. They're a little scared to make moves in season. The one they did make for Amari Cooper 2 years ago didn't pay off, 2018. The one they did make for Amari Cooper didn't pay off because they just got rid of Amari Cooper after giving up a 1st-round pick for Amari Cooper. What I tried to say, and this is my last glaring point, and this is just a point that proves the Cowboys' ignorance, if you will. Woo.
Strong.
You trade a 1st-round pick for Amari Cooper 2019. That's the 1st-round pick that I believe you give up. Just 3 years later, you trade Amari Cooper. That's the equivalent of trading a 1st-round pick after 3 years. You know what kind of backlash you would get as an organization if you traded a 1st-round pick 3 years into his deal, knowing 1st-round picks get at least 4 years plus a 5th-year option that's mandatory that the team has the option to extend? So the Cowboys still aren't even wise with their offseason picks. If you know that's the case, I can't let you treat the offseason like it's just some sort of flippant time period to pass.
You know what's tough about this conversation? It's hard to quantify everything. We're talking talent. How do you quantify talent? If they knew how to do that, the combine would go much smoother and Tom Brady wouldn't have been picked 199, right? You can just see through him and his intangibles, you need to measure them differently than you do. But let's have the talent conversation. Most talented roster the last 3 years, most people would say Cleveland. At least they've been at the top of the last 3 years. One playoff appearance. Okay, let's get to something we can quantify, wins. Green Bay Packers, most wins in the last 3 years, 13, 13, 13. Any Super Bowl wins? That's the point. So Stephen Jones is like, dog, don't tell me how to get up there where every way that you chose, every way that you direct me is not going to end up in that success. Whether you talk about talent and construction of the roster, Cleveland. Whether you talk about how many games you're winning, Green Bay. Or you could just talk about it comes together. Let's just go to the picnic, enjoy ourselves. Look at this number one offense under Dak Prescott. Get a man some ribs.